My family's dog thinks she's a cat. Since we adopted her, this weird canine only lets us pet her when she feels like it, headbutts us for affection, and believes she's the center of the universe. Yet we love her and we're happy to get whatever she needs. We domesticate animals to help ourselves emotionally and physically. Today, I'll give you a brief rundown on how we domesticated animals from the Paleolithic era to the present, why we still domesticate animals, and why we love them to death. We start our domestication story outside a high tent in Central Asia, under a tree in the Great Rift Valley, and in 100 other places. Hunting people offered meat to wolves there, taming them over time. Animal frontiers found that several thousand years later, the Mesopotamians began taming aurochs, imagine the biggest longhorn bull you've ever seen, for meat, milk, and hides. Frontiers also details how ancient people noticed children of two animals with specific traits inherit some or all of those traits. A fast stallion breeding with a smaller mare would create a fast, small, or fast, small mare. People realized they could make new animals that survived disease, had more meat, and were more helpful. And we just kept it going. With farming and livestock created, there was no need for hunting dogs. So, we bred them to do everything else: herd, find vermin, and stay where we haven't ever lived before. We have redefined the work animal and the companion while blurring the line between them. Fast forward to today. How different are domestic animals from their wild versions? From How Stuff Works, the first divide between feral and domestic was taming, loyalty to a human pack, eating human-found food, and staying in settlements. Physically, frontiers found coloration first distinguished domestic from feral. Later, we bred domestic animals to exhibit as many traits as possible, i.e. Sam here. Hey, Sam. Up. Good boy. Has orange fur, a short tail and short legs, and a thicker coat than a wolf. Surprisingly, domesticating this many animals only slightly affects wild animals' genetic makeup. However, Animal Frontiers detailed domestication massively affects the biosphere. Domesticated animals consume even more natural resources than humans, presenting most of Earth's animal biomass. Domestic animals outcompete wild animals and proliferate everywhere. Globally, we've removed and still remove wild places so our animals can live. This massive change is because we've needed farming more than ever to support our populations. Now, what about pets? We live without the need for working dogs or cats at all, so why adopt them? First, we and several other large-brained social animals may be spontaneously generous, as discussed in the conversation. We feel the occasional emotion to help those in need. Second, pets are infantilized versions of their wild species, which activates our parental instincts. Don't you feel parental about this guy? A pet also is much easier and cheaper to care for than a child. That is why pets are worth caring for. In this age of machine content, we still domesticate animals to help ourselves mentally or to eat. That process has irrevocably changed the natural world. Nevertheless, today we adopt and keep animals because they still need meat, and we are often their parents when we cannot care for a human child. In a sense, our domestic animals have domesticated us, changed us. NPR found we, on average, are far less violent than several thousand years ago. We must be social and peaceful to live together and care for our animals. But is it worth keeping them all for food and pets, while we push aside the natural world.